Team building with Jam is back. We're gonna hop right into it. Today we're gonna be building around Hisuian Arcanine. So how this works, if you are new, build a team. We go through the process of how to build a team, and then we use the team in a live, and we use that for 2 to 3 lives. So after this is done, it should take a little under 10 minutes to break down all the process, all the pieces of how we came to this team. After that, we're going to be grabbing some battles to test it out. So it might not even take 10 minutes, truth be told. So I actually built this quite a while ago, but as you guys know, I haven't uploaded in damn near a week. That is over now, as we are back. Just had to do some things, plus some indiscipline in there. So there are days I could have uploaded but didn't. But hey, we're back now. So Arcanine Hisui, one of the mons that a lot of people were looking forward to. I'm using Jolly. Looking forward to coming into the meta game is now here because it has a combination of things that we could dream of, or we once dreamed of, but never actually got. Now, if only Aerodactyl will get the same treatment. It's a Pokemon that has a ton of recoil moves and has Rock Head. So Aerodactyl, the reason I mentioned that one is because it could have access to Rock Head. I mean, it has access to Rocket, but I believe only has Double Edge. Doesn't have Brave Bird, which is great first typing on a recoil standpoint, and it doesn't have Head Smash. So Arcanine is like, hey, take a back seat and I'll show you how it's done. And fair enough. It is a new U now, so many predicted as much. I do think times will shift and we may see this bad boy pick up some usage. But we're gonna be making him do some work here. So I wanted to use the choice band set. So the question then became, what do I need to support said Pokemon, right? The first thing we always look at after we define step one. Step one is, I should have said this in the beginning, determine what the function of the team is going to be. Is it about weather? Is it about a specific Pokemon? What's the purpose, right? Once we have a destination, then we can start plotting the direction. And so the first step, especially if it's an offensive Pokemon or it's a Pokemon specifically, is what's going to stop this Pokemon from putting in the work. I don't know what the role on Bandit Head Smasher Dondozo is. We do know Chomp, Dondozo, Great Tusk, less Solanders, but it does matter. Those are things that are likely to come in and take at least 1 to 2 hits from Arcanine. And so especially Garchomp, it's like Fizdef Chomp's eating probably 4 hits from this. So those are things we don't want having their way, right? And all of the mons we listed, again, maybe other than Dondozo, if Dondozo doesn't get 2 KO, there may be merit for Terra Rock. I went Terra Normal just as E-Speed boost, Double Edge boost, we'll see. But if Terra Rock is more beneficial, then I'll go with that, right? If it's getting bigger KOs. So the question is, okay, what's some of the biggest impediments to Arcanine? And that's going to be hazards, especially if it's Choice Bandit. So I paired it with its Fire Brother in Cinderace. We're going to be trying the bulky Cinderace set out. Nothing too special here. And its job is to deter the use of hazards, right? If I went just the Tusk route with the Goldingo and all the other things, other ghost types, can be hard to keep the hazards on the field, but Cinderace deters hazards, and Cinderace also deters screens. So if we're facing a screens build, Cinderace deters it. So deter like 50 million times. Now I will admit the remainder of the team is centered around getting an Arcanine as often as possible. So we have Chilly Reception, we have Volt Switch, we have U-Turn. So 3 pivoting moves. Then we have the supporting Garganacl and Great Tusk. Now, I'm on the fence of whether or not I'll keep the structure the way it is now, right? Part of it is me wanting to use new things in different ways, meaning or I guess old things in new ways. But they're probably better combinations, and so that's something that you want to keep in mind if you choose to use this team. Don't feel glued to any particular set, right? It's like, or any particular mon if you after trying it out, notice that you struggle with a particular Pokemon or a particular playstyle, right? So for example, we only have one water resist on the team. So if in practice, which is the final step, a team is never finished until it's tested in actual play. So if I'm noticing that I'm just completely overwhelmed by water spam, then we'd adjust the team to account for that, right? We do have Terra Water users and such, I'm not supposed to be Terra Electric on this. I'm not even sure what the kids are running these days on their Zapdos. We're gonna try Steel and see what it do. Steel or Water probably works. Let's try Water. Let's try Steel. Let's give it a go. But yeah, so that's what we're looking at right now. So to go over the other sets, Slowking is relatively standard. I just went with a simple spread. Typically, if you're going to be trying to whip a team together quickly, just keep the spreads as simple as possible. Go in there knowing that you're going to encounter problems, you're going to potentially lose some games, and then adjust based on what you're experiencing rather than trying to adjust a ton ahead of time, right? That's if you're new to team building. If you have a particular Slowking set that's just a cinch for the metagame, you can adjust it to whatever you know. But in my case, I don't use Slowking enough to know what the kids are running these days. So I'm just gonna run a max spread, that because I want it to be there for special sponging the Enamoruses and such. Enamorus is another thing that could be problematic, but which is one of the reasons I'm like, well, I could structure this in a different way. But we'll see how problematic it is. This Tusk, standard Tusk, it does have a lot more speed. Outspeeds Ace after a spin, outspeeds I think up to Meowscarada, even though that's not as relevant anymore. Outspeeds the what's that thing called, Sneasler, all those mons. And Adamant, I think it goes up to Adamant Dragapult. Don't quote me on that. We got old reliable Iron Defense Garg here. This is partly like, let's try Garg out on this build, but honestly, I don't think it's going to be the best pick. I'll probably take it off at some point. But I haven't used Garg in a while, so that's what motivated that, if I'm honest, right? It's more about that than anything else. Because we have to account for Terras and whatnot. And then Zapdos, part pivot partner, right? And part ground immunity. It also checks and baits in a lot of the things that Arcanine likes. So if you think about all the things that I mentioned don't like Arcanine, it's Great Tusk, it's Dondozo, it's, well, I guess Garchomp can come in, but if it's defensive Garchomp, then Zapdos can Hurricane and mess him up, weaken him for the Arcanine, right? So, you know, most of the things that Zapdos baits in, other than maybe Clodsire, don't like staring down Arcanine. So things that will come in on Zapdos: Galarian, Slowking, Garganical. Well, Garg can come in on Arcanine to a degree, so it's not gonna, though, you know, the Myron, those head smashes are no joke. Heatran, again, Heatran could potentially Earth Power, but those banded head smashes are no joke. I guess Tinglu is one that could cover both. And there's a case for close combat as well over Double Edge. I'll play it out and see. But that's essentially the team. Again, I don't want to do, I used to do really lengthy team builders. Also, you can skip this. There's going to be a timestamp. But we're just going to hop right into it and get this party started. Actually, wrong alt. So we're going to hop right back on Academy teams. It has been a while since I've recorded, since the Heracross team. And so we're facing a Basculegion team. Interesting. It's not rain, unless I'm missing something. So yeah, so the usual process we go through is, first you're going to identify what the opponent can't guard against, right? So when we click Flare Blitz, what's his switch in? He only has one good fire resist. No, he has no good fire resist. All of them die to hits. All of them get 2 KO'd from, I think, Flare Blitz plus rocks, except Great Tusk. So Fire Blitz, Flare Blitz is going to be very critical, especially with them hazards going for us. Head Smash if Great Tusk dies, but he has Iron Hands and Great Tusk, which are two of the best rock resists in the game from a bulk standpoint. So Head Smash is likely not going to be as fruitful. Now, one good combo we do have though is Head Smash plus Future Sight, and that's something I should have mentioned a bit more, but I figured I'd show you better than I tell you. Cinderace's core purpose in this one is to switch them hazards back and to spread them wisps. The only thing that can come in on the wisp is really the Dragapult. It's a special, and not even that can come in on. Slowking Galar with the Terra Water can completely shut down the Basculegion if I choose to. It could also literally not be KO'd with the Terra Water. I mean, the only thing that could threaten me is the Hariyama and the Spore from the Amoonguss, but even those can be well checked, so I'm not too concerned about that. So Terra Water is an option on that. Great Tusk for the Iron Hands primarily. This is one thing I'm considering, which is the Garganical, but I think I don't need the Terra. The Terra would benefit me only for Dragapult's Draco Meteor, which I can eat anyway. Not to switch in, but I can eat it, and I can use Slowking to pivot around. And then Zapdos is so beautiful because the only thing that can come in on it is the Great Tusk. So the question is, what's the biggest problem to my team on lead? And that would be Dragapult. And so what we're gonna do here is force the Pult. I'm actually surprised by this 180. So this is actually phenomenal, unless this is some kind of Choice Scarf thing. When Amoonguss is your counter, Houston, we have a problem. And so this gives us the Flare Bliss opportunity we discussed earlier. Great Tusk likely to come in, but we're going to batter that down. He took 59. I'm about to die to a Choice Scarf Great Tusk here. I feel it. The thing is, he doesn't have rocks outside of this. Yeah, it was Choice Scarf, but it was Head Smash. I didn't think it was Scarf because he had no rock user, but it got my Arcanine. I knew I wouldn't lose the game if Arcanine died, so that's why I wasn't overly concerned about it. Plus, the removal of Great Tusk means he is absolutely and utterly decimated by the Garganical. Nah, not really. I can't full switch block. That's really all that means. And he had Head Smash, which I've never seen before, so I need to consider that for my Zapdos in the future. So one would assume Dragapult would come in. This is a fairly safe decision. Nothing on his team can match up well versus Zapdos except the Dragapult. And I can just roost turn 1 to see what the Dragapult's gonna do. If he Terra Dragons Dracos, I'd die. So he asked for Basculegion again, which I find interesting. Very interesting. So one would assume maybe Shadow Ball. But as I said, Slowking, unless it's adaptability, is Hydro Pump. So that looks like, I mean, that's definitely specs, but that might be adaptability specs. And this is a phenomenal position. Because we have to think about what's our end game, right? What are we aiming to win with? Zapdos obviously can destroy his team. He hasn't terrored yet, so I don't want to full on commit to the Garganical. However, if I can get rid of either this or I can get rid of his Amoonguss Garganical, if I get rid of Amoonguss, I can Terra Fairy and Garganical will destroy. If I get rid of this, I can stay a rock type and Garganical can destroy. So even though the Amoonguss could Giga Drain, so it's not guaranteed, but it makes this a lot easier. Now the question is, if I Chilly Reception, because his initial switch to this will likely be Pult or Amoonguss. So if I Chilly Reception, do I have any counterplay to Pult? Not really. So it's actually better to Future Sight, as he actually stays into go for that. So let me think, is it better? Now it's better to Chilly. So he specs and does a lot of damage. And here he loses a Pokemon because of that decision. Because now I just discharge with no drawback. If he goes to Pult, he has to take the Future Sight, risk the paralysis. Excellent, excellent. Future Sight didn't do as much as I expected. I'm gonna roost first to see if this is, because this is okay. So it's physical. Well, it might not be physical, but it's not special. It's not specially focused, which is great news. Which is great news. Okay, excellent. So we're likely staring down the. So this means that my Cinderace is actually a massive problem now. The Amoonguss is coming in. There's not too much I can do about the Amoonguss. This lefty's. So now that we've confirmed the Dragapult's not special, because I mean, one would assume I want a Terra Fairy. Based on how much the Basculegion was doing to my Slowking, it will do a ton to my Garganacl too. Cinderace is really, really important. Not mandatory, but important. I was just thinking about how I want to play the Great Tusk game. And how do I win this in the shortest time possible. So I'm actually going to Zapdos even if he were to have spored. It wouldn't have changed much. Silasros to Volt Switch as Yasura Mungus. Fireball wouldn't knock him out, obviously. He'd hard switch to the Basculegion. I actually did not think he would have. I didn't think he would switch there. Dragon Darts. I want this gone, but I don't want the Amoonguss back. If I get him to burn my Slowking, that's better. I actually want him to burn my Slowking. Probably should slack off, but sending out the Future Sight means another kill if I position Zapdos back. So we'll play this a little slower than I wanted to. But the Arcanine being alive would have meant I could pick up KOs faster. So that is one downside. The team seems to be like Arcanine is the only mode of offense, which I don't like. So he Thunder Waves, which isn't ideal, but you know, it is what it is. It does mean that now I can Future Sight. I mean, I can Salt Cure. Amoonguss is gonna. Oh, he just leaves the Polt in. Okay. So he's sacking the Polt, doesn't want to smoke from the Future Sight, which makes sense. I can take one Shadow Ball here, plus Slowking is no longer necessary. Yeah, I figured I could take at least one. Go back to Garg. The Adaptability Specs Ball hurt a lot more than I expected. Fortunately, no Spadef drop. I can recover here as he opts for the Hands of Iron. Terra Flying would be the biggest downside. So we'll Salt Cure first so that any sort of could Terra Fly. I could Terra Fairy in 1v1 this. Because one would assume he'd Drain Punch here. Leftovers. Terra Water would just mean that. Okay, I'll do that instead. I don't think there's. We should Drain Punch / Earthquake, and this neutralizes everything, right? Silasros the Body Press as he goes to Amoonguss. I knew this particular situation would come up sooner or later, but now that I'm Terra Fairy Garg, I actually don't have to value the Great Tusk as much anymore. So if he goes for the Spore, I'm fine. I'm actually really glad to see that Iron Hand switch. Corviknight's not that relevant, but if he's U-turn, Rocky Helmet, yeah, defogs, which I figured. Yeah, so excellent. So it goes to the Basculegion, and obviously we're just gonna go for the Hydro Pump. So we'll give up Slowking here. Oh, I guess you could miss Chilly Reception here. Gotta be mindful. Do I have a reason to predict the Amoonguss? No. No. Because I think at this point, Zapdos always wins. There's no... If he spores this, he can't beat Zapdos. So, because I'm thinking, okay, what terrors am I not accounting for? If the Amoonguss gets dropped, he just loses to the Garganacl down there. Not quite, because the Hydros are so strong. But he does Terra Water this. So he's giving up the Terra to... Doesn't even spore. I disagree with that. Now he can't beat my Garganacl. I mean, he can beat my Garganacl, but he can't... you know what I'm saying? He can't... What am I trying to say? He can't deal with the Salt Cure problem. Salt Cure is the big thing. So now I just got to be patient. Zapdos literally just destroys his team. I'll Tusk first, so he Spores. That's exactly what I needed. And now I'd assume he'd Sludge Bomb. If he has it. Does that matter? I don't think so. I didn't expect Grass Knot, but Sludge Bomb didn't matter. Now he's forced to Iron Hands. I always just Volt Switch out into Garganical. Short dances. But as I said, Garg is a tank. So he can Sludge Bomb if he wants, but he's taking Salt Cure damage. Clear Smog, I see. So he just Salt Cure spam as he goes to the Basculesian female this turn. GG. I didn't play this as cleanly. Wow, we decayed a Jesus. When's the last time I used this account? I don't remember the decay being that fast. When's the last time I used this account? 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks? I guess that could be. We probably decayed what? Almost 100 points? Holy shit. Actually, maybe not 100, maybe like 80 points. I don't know. Either way, we're gonna grab the next one. We're gonna have to work our way up. I figured I'd decayed a ton, but I didn't think it'd be into it. I don't remember where we were the last time. But anyway, as I said, we're gonna keep pushing. He has a Great Tusk plus a Heatran, which means my Flare Blitz are not as lethal. And he has a Dragon Pulse, so I can't even Terra. So, not an easy matchup for us, especially because we realize that the firepower isn't quite there. I do like Terra Fairy Guard versus his team. Very, very lethal Pokemon. We're likely going to be aiming for an endgame with that. If I was offensive, Cinderace would be lethal as well. Very lethal indeed. But yeah, the firepower on this team is what I'm lacking. So I'll make an adjustment for the next version. I don't like how it is now. I just knew I wanted these two paired together so that the Arcanine. But I suppose one factor, excuse me, that I did think about that I didn't mention in the team builder is the combination of Arcanine plus Future Sight. Right, that's a very sexy combination. So Head Smash plus Future Sight is a kill every time. And so the question always is, well, what can the opponent start with that would give me a big problem early on? And Polt is not one of them. Choice Specs Polt is not an issue. If I have to take the Shadow Ball, I'll get to find out. Unless he's Terra Blast physical, then I'm going to lose my Slowking here. And he is banded. So he probably did have Terra Blast Ghost physical. And so Volcanion's an interesting one. Unless there's somehow it can KO me that I'm not aware of. Because I want the free switch into my Arcanine here. I'm going to assume it can't kill me. It gets taunt now? I did not know that. I did not know I got taunt now. So this is not ideal for me. So you take this guard, take the Future Sight, fair enough. And he gets a crit there, which means he's probably heavily Spadef. Which is good news for my Great Tusk because he has to recover. But yeah, upside, you know, we get to remove his Tusk's item and play this hazard game the way we like. Because we're going, oh, he actually opts for Zapdos, and he does get that young static, which isn't ideal for us. But again, the Garg situation is looking splendid. Him having taunt on the Volcanion. Didn't know, but man, a lot of cool things got taunt. I saw Arceus have Will-O-Wisp and taunt. As you saw, probably in yesterday's video, I'd assume. I can obviously go to my Zapdos as well since I have court change on my side. Question is, do I want to risk him doubling to the Canyon, and do I want to give up my Tusk item? Because I could just Volt Switch out. So I'm like debating whether or not it's worth keeping Boots. Because the problem is that the Cinderace, depending on which one his rocker is, if it's the Heatran, then my Cinderace can't really keep the items. I can't keep the hazards off, which is why I like high jump kick too. But at the same time, Tusk, so it does pivot to guard. He probably expected me to go Zapdos as well, so I'm glad for that. Do I want to? It's actually better to Stealth Rock here. I could. The reason being, if he switches rocks with me, I can spin next turn or knock. Right. If I knock, I'm gonna knock next turn if he says, please fucking God. I swear I always get parried. The first time I get full parried, first time people parry me, I always get parried the next turn. I'm gonna Volt Switch here because it's low risk. That's really annoying. That's a really big turn. Like massive momentum lost that turn. Like as you're seeing, he's taking advantage of it. But colossal turn there. What it is, what it is. We'll make do. So now I feel obligated to Zapdos. Man, that's a very big turn, man. So this time we hope that we get the fucking. I could have sworn to knock the. No, he went Zapdos. I was like, I could have sworn to knock the Great Tusk item off. But no, he went Zapdos. Oh yeah, 25% my fucking ass. Yeah, how frustrating. So 2 pivotal turns. He couldn't be doubling around like this had that not happened. But I guess, again, as I said, we'll be alright. I'll outplay like I always do. So we're gonna cure this first turn. If I'm forced to Terra Fairy, I'm open to it. The combination again of Future Sight plus. No, let's recover is the best play this turn because now we can Salt Cure. I didn't think he'd stay into darts the second time. Man. Alright, but we'll make do with the holes because he's gonna switch out here probably to Zapdos. Maybe to, I don't mind Guard. Guard doesn't make a ton of sense because he hasn't knocked my Great Tusk item off. So even if you were to Salt Cure, unless you're gonna go back to your Great Tusk. Okay. Alright, so now I got him. So this is where I'm talking about. I get to knock this turn. You either go Zapdos, or you go Great Tusk if I don't get fucking goddamn, man. Out of the 3 turns I was paralyzed, I've been paralyzed 3 times and attacked once. This is the stuff I'm talking about, man. Incredibly frustrating because he keeps getting a lot of momentum that he shouldn't have, right? And it's incredibly aggravating. And now my Great Tusk is super low and it shouldn't even have any damage on it, right? And I find it even more comical that his Great Tusk has yet to get paralyzed after touching my Zapdos. I'm actually pressure, so that's my fault. I'm glad that I noticed that and changed that to static. Okay. So those things put me really far back. Not gonna lie, like I'm really far back now. So I'm a lot of my plans change because of all of the paras. But it's far from over. It's far from over, especially because I'm getting a lot of data on his teams. Physical pulled. And if I play correctly, okay, that's perfect. That's exactly what I needed. Exactly what I needed. So, so what I can do here is Cinderace, because he's mindlessly U-turning. I've got him conditioned at this point. I'll either lure out his Great Tusk or his Volcanion, both of which I want. If his Great Tusk, I'm going to burn it, which is going to neuter him for my Arcanine later on. Excelente, excelente. Please fucking hit. Thank you. Excelente. I am more than happy with that. And so what this allows is for me to U-turn out and get my Slowking in. And this is the positioning I wanted. So now, unless he goes to, oh, that's even better. That's even better. Because my head smash king is finna get, yup. This is the position I wanted. He's max Spadef, I'm pretty sure. So this will do a ton, but even if, okay. If he has Protect, I don't think he showed Protect yet. But even then, so now that actually changes a lot. I didn't think Protect was his last move. That does change a lot now. I'm gonna leave it in case he decides for some reason to not have gone to his Great Tusk. But him having Protect changes a lot. This is risky because he could Earthquake. He doubles to Pole, which I didn't expect. Yeah, I have darts. Yeah. 40%. Oh man. We'll Saw Cure once more. He doesn't know I'm Terra Fairy. Well, he might. But I want to bait him in. Right. So I'll probably get a kill here. Gotta time this right. I knew I'd have to Terra this most likely. Nothing else really makes sense to Terra anyway. Yeah, excellent. So now I'm now he's gonna commit to, yep, excellent. It should do about 60. 82, shit. I knew it was max with F, but holy shit. So his Garg is dead, which opens up my Dragapult a lot. I mean and I still have my leftovers, open up my Zapdos a lot. So he asks for Volcanion, which doesn't shock me as we get to play the future side games. That's why I didn't like this pesky ass Volcanion, but I do have Zapdos that's faster. As he gets this team, bro is lucky as shit. Golly, man. But he also doesn't have anything to combo with Slowking plus Arcanine. I don't know why he went Heatran. Because your Balloony Terra Ghost. Oh, I've never seen that before. I think I live the Burn. Okay, that's actually really good. Terra Ghost. So he Terras, which means nothing else can Terra. So my Zapdos, I mean, his Dragapult is infinitely walled. I need to get Rocks up. Again, Terra Blast Ghost. He may have Earth Power, and that's what I'd use in this case, in this situation. Terra Blast Ghost. That does change things a bit because my Arcanine can't just come in willy-nilly. Would you go for... I don't think I die to Earth Power, even if he uses it. Yeah, I figured he'd Storm. He took the future side, which is blessed. I knew he forgot about that. I don't think he'd risk another Magma Storm. I need to get this right because Zapdos is really important. If he I can't risk him Magma Storming actually. I'd have to play offensively and give up. Because my Slowking is not going to get to slide. I could. Slowking is really fucking important. I actually don't want to give up Slowking. Slowking is like game winning good. Okay. I'm willing to give my Tusk up. He does miss the Magma Storm. Now I know he's going to go for it again, which is what I wanted to guarantee. So I can head smash here. He probably goes to Tusk, which I don't mind. This allows for me to go to my Slowking and get at the minimum regen. It covers any double. If anything, he's slack, right? Excellent. So now I can Garganical position, and he's going to try to Volcanion, but my Slowking is back. Bro got the burn. Bro got everything he needed. It's crazy. And I can condition him to taunt, and when he taunts, I can reposition. It's a risky, decently risky play, but even if he Steam Eruption again, yeah, I would have had him. I wouldn't lose the game as long as I reposition Zapdos, and like, what was he gonna do, right? Zapdos eats his lunch at this point. I mean, I'm glad I get to keep my Great Tusk because I do want them rocks, and I get to always head smash. He probably expected me to blitz predicting his Great Tusk, so he forfeits there in a moment I clap him. So again, not the cleanest game. I do need to change the team a bit, but since we're lower ladder, you know, it gives you some entertainment in the meantime. So we're gonna play our final game. I like the look of this guy's team. Maybe it's just the Cleavor, because nothing else on his team is special. Literally nothing on. I guess it's gonna say from a special attacking standpoint as well, but the Enamorous obviously. Nothing for young King Zapdos. Nothing for King Zapdos. Obviously, Cleavor suffers versus versus a Cinderace. And all I need to do here is Iron Defense my Garganical, Terra Fairy, and that's all she wrote. I'd prefer to get rid of Enamorus first, but I really don't even know how he beats that. So Enamorus is the only thing he could lead versus Tusk, and I suppose Baxcalibur is concerning, actually. Let me not be too wild here. Bax is a significant enough issue to where I'm willing to. I figured he'd Cleavor. I don't know if this is Sash. Either way, again, he's just setting up hazards for me. I don't want to risk him being Scarf and knock me out. I think I'd die. So Great Tusk is always a play. As I said, I love the mindless Stone Axe users. Love him. Love him. Which makes even less sense considering I have a rapid spinning Great Tusk. Like I never understood. But I do understand because I train people. But if anything, if you're not in the 1700s yet, this should give you confidence. Like look at this stuff. This should give you full confidence that, oh shit, Jam, these guys are wild. So he's giving up the Terra, which means this Gambit is completely, everything else is completely susceptible to my Garganical. He's used Aerial Ace, which I think is that sharpness boosted. I don't think it really matters, but it's cool. So because I have the Cinderace, do I want to core change versus Aerial Aces? So it was Focus Sash as I expected. So he loses this. Obviously Aerial Ace won't kill me. I was thinking, do I need my Tusk over anything else? Because I do have my Will-O-Wisp Cinderace, so Enamorus can't Terra. Substitute Calm Mind most likely, but can't Terra. So 2 serves. So you'd have to Calm Mind again here. I mean, you have to sub again. Interesting. He doesn't sub, which is great for us. Because he's going to have to take the Future Sight and then has to take a Powerball here. Which, if Enamorus dies, then Garganical for sure is coming through. I'm debating whether or not there's... Okay. Very interesting. I gotta be mindful of backs, I suppose. But I do have Terra Fairy, so I can Iron Defense on his Earthquake. Let's see, Dragonites. Very interesting. This allows for me to court change and interesting. So I'm glad I know. I'm glad. It's good to know that he has Encore early, because that could have been concerning versus my Garganical. I actually forgot about Encore as an option. So it allows for me to discharge. ESP is going to do literally no damage. 36%. I know he doesn't have Roost, so Volt Switch into Arcanine. Because we want to ward out the... Interesting. That doesn't really change anything, but I do want to make sure he doesn't get a free switch into backs, depending on what his backs is, because it dawned on me that my team is decently slow. So Great Tusk mid ground covers every option. If he stays in, no concern. If he switches, no concern. Great Dragon Dances. Keep the sack. EQs, I'm surprised by that. So now we get to Volt Switch. So we're at the same position. Dragonite's fainted. Because I don't have high jump kick, I don't want the backs getting a free Dragon Dance. Alright, so I'm gonna do it for positioning. We're gonna force his Zamazenta in, which allows my Zapdos in. Though I do want to be mindful about allowing it to get too boosted. So would it be better to go hard guard, Terra Fairy? Is there anything that could happen here that I'm not thinking about? No, even if he body presses straight up, because I know he's going to body press this turn, or try to substitute. Because I want to get the boost before his gambit comes in. I think this is the fastest way to finish the game. I could have gone about this a couple other ways, but I think the fastest way to win this is this way. So back to 1700s pretty much. Thanks for watching, you beautiful people. The Jamster is back, and we're ready, man. It's time for the launches. I'll see you next time. Peace.